crazy if you sew and make a lot of clothes for yourself. But as a professional pattern maker, when I made patterns for Alexander McQueen and Jenny Packham for their collections and for the runway, I never really thought about ease. Hi, welcome to Pattern Make with Leigh. In this video, we're talking about ease. We'll talk about what it is, why we add it, and 3 different types. This is all kind of pretty simple stuff. What makes ease difficult is knowing which patterns and styles need ease, where to put it, and when to add it during the pattern making process, and how much to add. And we're going to cover all those topics too. Ease is the difference, or how much bigger the pattern is than your body. It really is that simple.
In this example, the pattern is 1 centimetre, so 3/8 of an inch bigger at the bust, 5 centimetres, so 2 inches bigger at the waist, and 7 centimetres bigger at the hip.
Ease allows the body to move and feel comfortable and sit down when wearing the garment.
If the pattern has the exact same measurements as the body, it'll be tight and constrict movement. So, depending on the design, the pattern maker may add some ease to make the garment more comfortable to wear.
But not always. You can have negative ease. Think of activewear or leggings. When you use stretch fabrics, the pattern needs to be small in the body because the fabric will obviously stretch. So technically you have negative ease. Same with corsets.
If you look at the corset block I sell on my website, I recommend selecting a size that is 5 centimetres, so 2 inches smaller than your body at the bust, waist and hip. So a full graded size smaller. The most important thing when designing corsets is the corset pattern is smaller than the body's waist.
To help corsets stay up, the corset needs to be anchored at the waist, otherwise the whole thing will just fall down. And the easy way to do this is to make it smaller at the waist so it cinches in the body. You may be starting to understand how something so simple can get so complicated, but before we get into where and how much to add, let's talk about the 3 different types.
The first thing you need to consider is style ease.
Essentially, it's how much bigger the pattern needs to be than the body to create the look of the garment you want to make.
If you're making something fitted, it'll be close to the body's measurements. If you're making something oversized, like my oversized shirt block, the pattern will be a lot bigger. Next up is how much ease you need for the fabric. In general, the heavier the fabric, the more it will constrict the body.
But even different colours of the same fabric can behave differently. So you might need to make a pattern bigger for a certain colour fabric. I did this once for a pair of pants. The white fabric was more tightly woven and gave a lot less. So we had a separate pattern for the white and for the black pants.
Then we have personal comfort ease.
Essentially, this is how you want to feel in the garment. And this is very personal. Some people like a more comfortable fit, so they'd add more ease. Some people like things to be really figure hugging and tight and supportive, so they'd have a small amount of ease or perhaps no ease. So they're the 3 types of ease. And when I said in the introduction that I didn't think about ease when I was creating patterns for the runway and for collections, Alexander McQueen, I meant the 3rd type, personal comfort ease. When you're making patterns for a collection, your sizing revolves around the sample size, and you make patterns to fit that sample size. And when I say fit, I don't mean you see body hugging fit. If you're making an oversized shirt, it should be oversized for that sample size. It's up to the customer to then pick the right size for them. So if you like something more comfortable, you probably go upper size. If you're in between sizes, if you like something tighter, you'll go a bit smaller. It's kind of up to them to make the right choice and add their own personal ease into it. So as a professional pattern maker, I don't really think about the first 2 types of ease, so style and fabric. But if you make clothes for yourself or for a private client, you need to think about personal comfort ease. Otherwise, the clothes you make will be too tight. Now let's talk about where and how much to add. It's a bit hard to give numbers for style ease because it really depends on the style. If a designer drew a figure-hugging tight dress, I would make it fit the sample size. If you're just something oversized, I could put 20 to 50 centimetres of ease, so 8 to 20 inches. It really depends on how oversized it is. But for pants, I have ease built into my blocks.
If you look at the sizing chart for my pant blocks on my website, all the blocks are 2 centimetres, so 3/4 of an inch bigger at the waist and hip. I also add 2 centimetres, so 3/4 of an inch to the crotch depth.
This isn't personal comfort ease. I've just found from fitting so many pants that you need to have ease built into the blocks, even if the pant is really fitted, because pants have so many different fit issues. Same with sleeves. If your pattern or block for a fitted dress has sleeves, the front armhole should have about 0.6 centimetres or 1/4 of an inch of ease between the middle and the bottom, and the back armhole should have even more. So it has about 1.8 centimetres, so 3/4 of an inch between the mid armhole and the bottom. Once again, this isn't personal comfort ease, this is just basic ease to allow movement in the sleeve. And if your design doesn't have sleeves, don't need to worry about this, so no sleeves, no ease, the pattern should be flat against the body. Another style you need to think about are jackets and coats, which are layering pieces. They're also usually made in thicker fabrics and they have facings and linings, so they need a lot more ease for the thickness and for the clothes worn underneath. And what makes them a bit more complicated is not only do you need to add to the bust, waist and hips, so the torso area, you also need to make the neckline, shoulder and armhole bigger, which you do via dart rotation. And if you can't get enough or tell to member my channel, I've done a whole video on this, which you can check out. If you've watched my introduction to pattern making course, which is free on my YouTube channel, you'll see this video on how fashion collections are made.
Essentially, it's how you go from design idea to production. The prototype sample, which is the first sample, usually made in calico, is where I'd work out the styles. Then, when the fit sample is created in the final or a very similar fabric, I would start looking at the fabric ease.
If the style is loose or oversized, fabric ease isn't really a big issue, but if the style is fitted, you need to add some.
Here is a very general guide for fitted clothing. Feel free to take a screenshot. In general, the heavier the fabric, the more it will constrict the body. So I'm just increasing the ease as the fabric gets heavier.
The other thing to think about is fabric bulk. Say you're making a waistband in like a wool or a bit of a thicker fabric. It's double legs, it's folded on itself, and they also have fusing, so it does actually get quite thick. And if you don't add a bit of extra ease and make it a bit bigger, it can constrict the wearer and make the waist feel really tight. This is where it gets really personal, and you need to think about how you or your private client you're making the clothes for likes to look and feel in the clothes they wear.
You can also add different amounts of ease to each location on the body. These measurements are a good general guide for a very fitted style. The bust has more ease because it's close to the armhole and no one wants to feel a dress cutting into the underarm. And you can increase the amount of ease as the silhouette gets looser, so this would be a good guide for a fitted dress.
And remember, personal comfort ease is only really relevant or something you need to think about when you're making clothes for yourself or for a private client. By now you should have a good understanding of what ease is, the different types, and how much to add. In this next video, I'm going to show you where and how to add it.